What's up, family? Welcome to Mini Bytes Session 70. My name is Erin McCluskey. I'm an executive coach and I work with leaders who are looking to redefine their personal and professional definitions of success. I work on connecting wellness and performance, as well as teaching individuals how to articulate the need to prioritize self care in the workplace. It is a whole different language. So thanks for being here today. Shameless plug before I continue. The fall session of the September session of the certification course in mindset and performance is full. Registration is full for September. And I am happy to say that I will be launching my next certification in mindset and performance course in October. So be on the lookout for that. Check the website. Registration will be opening, enrollment will open later this week. So really excited about that. Okay, so Mini Byte Session 70, and the topic is observation mode. Observation mode. So I was got a call from a client, which inspired this message, asking about a situation and basically how to respond to this situation in the workplace. And situations in the workplace are a little bit different from personal circumstances, in the sense that it can be a little bit easier to step into observation mode, or it can be a lot more challenging, if depending on kind of how you're showing up to work. So if you're showing up to work and you're coming from a place of fear, I'm afraid I'll lose my job, I'm afraid I have to make myself irreplaceable. If you kind of have that attitude about work, there's a really good chance that it's going to be very difficult for you to let go in circumstances where you feel like you do not have control. And so to recommend to someone to enter into observation mode during a particular interaction or circumstance can be really hard for that person. This particular client does not have a lot of trouble going into observation mode. This individual is a leader in the organization, and this person has had a long and very successful legal career. And so when we have these conversations, they are generally pretty open to stepping into observation mode. And this morning, it was a particularly challenging set of circumstances for this individual, and understandably so. And I'm not going to go into the details of the actual situation, but my response was, go into observation mode at this time. Go into observation mode today. At which point they said, well, I have to do something. And it's funny because we've talked about this before and we'll talk about it again. I mean, it's not like you have these conversations once and it's like, voila, it shows up in your life everywhere. Trust me, I can speak from personal experience. That is not the case. And they said, well, I have to do something. And I said, well, that's a great point. And I read them a quote from a book that I reference here and there called I Am That. It was a book that I spent a lot of time with when I was living on the big island of Hawaii. And it's one of these books that it would take me weeks to get through 3 pages. I mean, just the amount of mind-blowing information in each sentence for me at the time was just really relevant. But so there's a quote in the book, and it talks about going into observation mode, and it talks about how being the observer is a way to take control back, and it is far from passive. If you really think about what it takes to go into observation mode, so that requires a few things. Number one, it requires letting go of the desire to fix, manage, or control a particular situation. Number two, it may require a greater amount of silence, not speaking up even though one feels the need to. And number three, going into observation mode requires really healthy boundaries. It's really not easy to go into observation mode unless boundaries are being set in the individual's life, because to go into observation mode requires one to be able to see the situation as it is unfolding, to observe the individuals as they are behaving in the way that they are, and to do so without judgment. Because when we judge a particular set of circumstances or a situation, that's when we go into fix, manage, control mode. Either we're not happy with it, it shouldn't be going this way, it should look different. Those are all types of judgment. When we're saying I should, I have to, I need to, it's because we're inserting our will and or because we're judging. So going into observation mode is not easy to do, and it takes a lot of practice. And so, number one, it requires us to let go of the desire to fix, manage, and control. And it requires us to have healthy boundaries so that we can look at a set of circumstances without judgment. And so I want to really highlight today with this session how empowering going into observation mode is. We learned the opposite. We learned that being the observer is weak, is passive, and there's nothing further from the truth. Going into observation mode is actually more difficult than fixing, managing, controlling. So therefore, it requires a greater amount of self-control and discipline, and that is ultimately where the power is. So just know that if you decide to go into, and I challenge you to go into observation mode today, so that does not limit your activity, it actually empowers you, it allows you to take your power back, ultimately giving you even more control by simply being the observer. Love you all. Until the next time.